This is That Talking Podcast. I'm JJ Starr.
And I'm Downtown Andy.
Welcome. We are here to talk. We are here to bring some civil discourse to an otherwise discordant world. How are you, Andy?
I am good. How are you, JJ?
I'm doing okay. It's been a day.
It's Sunday.
The dog is in my lap.
Yeah, now she is.
She's sitting in my lap.
She's licking the screen. She's
no,
about to
she's
lick the
not.
screen.
She's checking our levels.
Yeah.
Sadie, what's happening?
That's where she wants to be.
Okay.
Our executive producer, Sadie G.
This is ridiculous.
No, it's not. You love this.
I do. She's making sure I don't spike.
See, this is why we have to film episodes so people can see this in person. It'd be fucking wonderful.
Well, you know what? I'll take it because I needed this today. I needed this today.
It's been a day.
Oh, it's been a day.
Oh, man.
But we're here, and we're here to talk.
So we have 3 simple rules. You want to get to those?
We do. We have 3 simple rules that we live by here at That Talking Podcast. No judgment, nothing personal, and please don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
I threw that please in there because it seems more polite. Like, please don't squeeze the Charmin.
Now I want to watch that commercial. Oh man, retro commercials, retro ads, retro TV.
Gotta love it. I mean,
days of yesteryear.
Yeah, we spent the entire day yesterday just watching cartoons, watching old cartoons.
Listen, we
old
needed
cartoons.
that day. You had your procedure. You needed time to rest.
Yeah.
I came home late from a gig. I needed to. I haven't stayed home and in bed all day for such a long time.
No, you haven't. That's not really your go-to.
There were those moments where every part of my body was getting achy just from laying around, and then I had to remind myself, like, oh, this is a Saturday that I have off.
Yeah.
But we have nothing to do, no plans, and it was just so good.
I mean, I'm kind of glad because there was so little I was going to be able to do yesterday. So I'm kind of glad that we just hung out and watched cartoons all day.
It was a day. It was a therapeutic day, which is the theme of this episode.
What you want to talk about?
That's what I want to talk about is therapy.
You want to talk about
all forms of therapy.
Yeah.
From the traditional to the non-conventional.
I am a participant in several therapies. So I'm here as your expert witness.
All right. So I have not always had good experiences when it comes to the traditional sense of therapy. I have seen
talk therapy.
So I had this very inaccurate idea in my mind of what therapy would be like because I grew up watching Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist.
That'll give you a weird take on it.
And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that there was a theme to that show, but it was really just a way for comedians to get their PG version of their routine on television.
I mean, they're sitting on a therapist's couch, just sort of doing their acts.
Yeah. So I always assumed before I knew anything about that therapy was you go into an office, you sit in a chair or lay on a couch, and then you just talk about your problems, and then you try and get help, try and get advice, try whatever. I mean, I didn't seriously believe that that's what therapy was like, but I was seeing a therapist. It was insisted that I see a therapist at the age of 14 because, unbeknownst to me, somebody in my class thought I was depressed. And so I think, honestly, I was just acting out at the time because I was in a new school at that point, didn't really know anybody, didn't really want to be there, but I didn't want to be in public school at the time either because I was having a rough time.
Like, the fact that someone, like, just a student's word would put you in therapy is,
they had me start with the
school
psychologist, and the school psychologist led to a psychotherapist, and I think that was it at that point. This would have been 2001, 2002. I was kind of the outcast. I mean, I was in a school where it was like 30 kids per grade, private Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to conform to the norms. Like, these kids had been around each other from kindergarten up to this point. Like, it had always been this group of 30 kids.
Right.
All 8 years of their schooling.
That's all the class was?
At the time, yeah.
Wow.
Every grade was like 30 kids. Wow. And so, to this day, I don't even know who it was.
I taught in a school that small. That's weird.
But so they had all grown accustomed to each other because they've been around each other this long. And so you have this
weird
unconventional,
newcomer. It's weird newcomer.
Skateboarding and all sorts of other, alternative things that isn't as into like the religious aspect of going to Catholic school.
You're coming in like the craft.
Yeah. So I went along with it, and I sat there and I talked to this guy for a couple of sessions, And all it did really at the time was bring out the fact that my dad and I didn't get along because I was trying to do things my way and he wanted me to conform and do things his way
Sure.
and, society's way. And so we butted heads. And then my mother made me stop going because she got the idea in her head that this therapist was convincing me to hate my dad. She's like, no, at the time, I just hated my dad because he wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and at 14, I'm pretty sure your therapist heard that a lot.
Yeah. But that was that. And then I didn't see another therapist again until 2016.
Yeah.
And that was for a relationship. And then after that, I had seen therapists.
Was it like couples therapy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was with the kid's mother. And then I went back to see that same therapist on my own years later when I thought I needed it. Like I thought I needed somebody to just unload and vent to.
Sure.
But then she interjected politics into our discussions.
No bueno.
And I said, no.
Nope, no bueno.
No, that's very unprofessional. Funny story is that she emailed me out of the blue a couple of years later and she asked me if I shopped on Amazon. And I was like, what does that have to do with anything? And why are you asking me of all people?
The fuck?
So, not to completely bash traditional therapy because, again, I've for the most part seen, actual therapists, licensed clinical social workers and things of that sort, mostly for relationship issues, but also for work issues. There was a great service through the Postal Service where they provided therapy for like so many sessions to people who needed it.
We do that too. My store does that too.
One of my coworkers had said it did wonders for him, and I said, all right, I'll give it a try. By far and away the best one I'd ever talked to.
Good.
I had found the most in common with him, and we could talk about music, we could talk about relationships, we could talk about other things that we liked that were similar, but ultimately, the sessions only ran so long, and then he ended up leaving to go into private practice before he retired, so it couldn't continue.
Yeah.
But a lot of those other therapist-client relationships, I did not see a lot of value in because I did not see a lot of results.
I saw a therapist when I was in 6th grade at the behest of my school because I was harassing another student.
Really?
Yes. I was suspended and I was forced to see a therapist. I remember my whole family was in the room while this woman badgered me into admitting that I was essentially a bully. And I just remember hysterically crying. And afterwards, it was my mother who said, we're not going back there. And then I had, experiences with, social workers and stuff like that. But it actually, like, right before COVID lockdown, like the end of February 2020, I was basically living in a hotel in Dallas working for Monster Jam and Supercross. And I had gotten to a point where I was just like, I know that I need talk therapy. And I had been sort of going back and forth with, I was on state insurance and they're not going to pay for anything. So like,
they're not?
Well, like I was in New York and there were, the therapists in my area didn't take any of that. So I would have been paying for a lot of stuff out of pocket and I was not in a position to do that. So finally, a friend of mine who was actually on the tour with me suggested that I try like Talkspace or BetterHelp. And I actually did. And I tried BetterHelp and I enjoyed it because it was basically just texting. And it was comfortable because it was really the first time that I felt like I could control the situation when it came to the idea of being in therapy. They ask you some particulars, do you prefer the sex of your therapist? Do you prefer, your therapist to be religious and everything? And they try and match you with the best that they can. So the first therapist that they put me with was this woman who I was only her patient for maybe 2 weeks. Maybe a little bit more than that. And it was all while I was living in the hotel. And every time I talked to her about something that was happening, my anxiety, my depression, my stress levels and everything, she was very quick to try and diagnose me with something. She tried to like, just throw these things at me like, well, it sounds like you have this. It sounds like your problem is
That's
this.
a little unusual.
And it was it was very stressful. And I'm like, this woman is not interested in finding out anything about me. She's not interested in hearing, how I feel and everything like that. She just wants to say, like, boom, you're done. You're diagnosed, moving on, next problem. And after a couple of weeks, I had the option of telling the service, I don't want to work with this person anymore. And I felt like I was going to be in a position where I had to like break up with them, but I wasn't. It was just like, boom, you're not with this person anymore. We're going to find you somebody else now. And the next therapist that I got matched with was a fucking golden goose. She was absolutely fantastic. Her name was Jen, and she was my golden goose. And I was with her for about 5 months. And we talked all the time. She made me feel very comfortable, very able to open up and everything like that. And we were, we had regular sessions of, talk therapy. And then the sad, bitter irony is that after 5 months of working through BetterHelp, not a sponsor, we literally had gotten to a point where we were discussing my abandonment issues because of, the neglect that I've suffered and everything like that. And I have developed very serious abandonment issues, and it has caused me some trauma. And
right there with you.
As we were really getting to the guts of it, she told me she was leaving BetterHelp for private practice.
And she wasn't, a recurring theme.
And she wasn't going to be able to be my therapist anymore. So I was just like, I really don't know how to handle this.
That's exactly how I felt.
And I was just like, holy shit. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I can't afford, I didn't have insurance at this point. And I was just, because now we're into COVID, I don't have insurance. I'm on unemployment. And I'm just like, there's very little that I can do. And I was like, can you give, and she told me her rates for private practice. And I'm like, I can't afford that. So BetterHelp matched me with a couple more people, and I was just like, nope. And then finally, my 6th therapist that they matched me up with was this woman who is now, to this day, my therapist. So she's been my therapist now for almost 3 years. Been going on about a little over 2.5 years at this point, and she's fantastic.
So you started seeing her before we got together?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Am I gonna have to fight somebody?
No, okay, no. She makes it very comfortable to again.
I'm kidding, but
to be able to be honest, because I think that, I think a lot of people they feel self-conscious because
Absolutely.
You're talking about things that are excruciatingly personal and a lot of the times embarrassing.
You know what's weird? I've never had a problem unloading that kind of stuff to a total stranger.
You don't have a problem unloading that stuff to me either. But I'm not a therapist.
I don't know why it is, though. I've always, I think I just naturally just need to vent at times, and I don't really care who's listening.
There are things that I'm not even remotely close to being embarrassed about. Most things, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain things that nobody but me knows, and that's how that's going to stay.
Same. Same.
But do you think that there's biases when it comes to therapy?
I think there can be. You mean like on the part of a therapist?
I mean, I've witnessed it, firsthand many times.
I think that that's a serious red flag.
Well, I mean the politics thing was one of them.
That shit like that is not supposed to enter into it, period.
But for example, like if you are either in therapy with another person or you are talking about that other person and then they're having input when it comes to your treatment, I mean,
what if another person is having input?
I mean, I've had couples therapy, quite a few times, and all the therapists that I saw during those sessions, they were all women, and they always erred on the side of the woman in my life at that point. And I thought that was very unfair because I was open, I was honest, I admitted things that I was embarrassed to admit because I can say when I screw up. I can say when I make a mistake and apologize when it's necessary. You know that. But I felt like that the whole world was
being ganged up on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is out and out just the sign of a poor therapist. The whole point of therapy is objectivity.
Here's the thing.
That's the whole point.
Most of these women were just licensed clinical social workers.
It doesn't matter.
They weren't, I don't know what the step above that is in the world of therapy, but that was always the acronym that came with their name or their title or whatever. Like,
That's just the license.
Okay. But that seems...
You still have to go through the psychological training and stuff like that. Like, it's not like being a notary. You don't just, like, get a stamp and that's it.
It just seems like a bottom shelf therapist to me.
It's just a more commonly accessible therapist.
After 3 or 4 therapists, I was trying to connect the dots. I'm trying to think to myself, all right, what are the things that tie these people together? Male versus female, black versus white, older versus younger, this, and, all the different things. And I'm like, okay, well, who had some of the same traits as this one versus that one who had completely opposite traits? And I'm sorry to say, but the one that I had the most in common with, the one through my job, was an older man and who was also a musician.
Do you mind if I play therapist for a second?
Sure.
Do you think that perhaps you were, because you felt ganged up on, do you think that perhaps you drew some parallels and you may have projected a little bit of that? I'm not suggesting that you were not being subjected to bias, but perhaps, is it possible that you sort of projected onto female therapists at that point that this is just another woman who is going to take someone else's side over me?
I mean, some of the therapists just outright told them, get away from him.
See, and that to me, and again, with my experience with therapists, like if any of my therapists had ever said things like that to me, had ever actually just given me blatant advice, and I mean, maybe this is counterintuitive of other people's experiences in therapy, but like, my therapist does not give me advice. The closest thing to giving me advice that my therapist does is she suggests articles that I read, books that I read, and things like that based on what we've talked about. She's recommended things to help me understand why I may experience things the way that I do. She is a conduit for my understanding of myself.
Which is what they should be.
And that's why I've been with this woman for 3 years. I've had terrible experiences with other therapists, but I mean, it's a trial and error thing. It's like any other kind of doctor. Honestly, it's like, people say you go to a doctor, you have your experience, you just stick with them even if you don't like them. No, you don't. Move on.
Given my history, it's just because, again, I don't have a very positive impression of therapy in my mind because I have found alternatives to therapy. Like, again, there were times where I felt it necessary, like where I said, okay, there's things that I'm dwelling on. I need to talk to somebody who doesn't have a horse in the race. Let me go to this person that is familiar with my story already. Mm-hmm. And so I was going back to her and, session after session, but she's the one again who interjected politics. And once that became a thing, I'm like, I don't like where this is going. Like, I'm here talking to you about being depressed about my mother and my brother and, relationship troubles and stuff like that. And then you bring this in after knowing everything that you know about me, knowing how hard I've had it, with my exes and the kids and this and that and the other thing. And now I feel like I can't trust you.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the last straw for me. If you do not believe that you can trust this person, then there is no point in continuing that relationship.
Now, I'm not going to lie. There have been times since I started going to therapy. I mean, I'm not going right now to anybody, but there have been times where I thought to myself, this is completely useless. This is ridiculous. There is no reason to be spending money just paying somebody to talk to them when you could talk to anybody in your life and more or less get the same response or a similar one. That has occurred.
Now, as the person you talk to about these things, I will tell you, it is, and I love you, a burden.
What?
It has a tendency to become very burdensome to be the person who receives your
You're not the only person,
grief.
Though.
I'm sure I'm not. But nonetheless, while it is remarkable that you do have that openness to talk about these things and everything with me, with other people that you trust with it and everything like that, it is difficult sometimes. I mean, I can't imagine being my therapist and having to deal with people like me talking about the problems I have constantly. It is an energy suck.
I
Like
understand
I,
that.
you know, like, and it becomes difficult, especially when you have someone like me who is constantly dealing with their own, you know, energies and stuff like that and trying to fix themselves. It's difficult to show up for you in the way that I believe a therapist would have the capacity to show up for
That goes
you.
both ways, you know.
I know.
I mean, but there are times where I won't say anything to anyone because the thought will occur, well, it's not going to change anything. No one's going to be able to solve my problem by snapping their fingers.
No.
So, why bother? But I think that's when my body and my brain just go to a natural defense mechanism of, okay, well, if unloading on someone, friend, stranger, whatever, isn't going to do anything for me, what else is there?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, your hobbies, your other things, your pets, your whatever.
Your therapeutic activities.
That's what I resort to.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Talk therapy is not for everybody. I would never tell someone to not try it because you don't know. You don't know that it won't help you. So I am a very serious advocate for it, but I understand that it does not work for everybody.
The one most valuable thing that I took away from any of my therapy sessions with any therapist I'd ever talked to was that it finally got through to me that I am not responsible for somebody else's happiness. It is not my job to secure that somebody else is happy or satisfied or whatever. And that was really difficult. That was a difficult pill for me to swallow because I always believed that, as one half of a relationship, it is my responsibility to show up, to put as much as I can and be, the best half that I can be for that other person. But it was very dramatically explained to me, no, it is not. You cannot always fix everything. You cannot always be there.
I think of that as the airplane emergency situation where they tell you to put your mask on before helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely believe that it is most significant to be able to take care of yourself before someone else should be permitted to expect you to take care of them.
And that is the most valuable thing I've learned from you.
From me?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's important, and I think that it's significant, especially in close relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but any close relationship, is that you need to understand that someone in that relationship with you is not going to be able to give you 100% if they're not at 100%.
Until we started dating, I was afraid to take care of myself first because I always perceived it as selfish, because that is what was imprinted on me by other people.
Same. And being in therapy actually has helped me immensely to break out of that. I have always been a people pleaser, as they like to say.
Yeah.
I have been a people pleaser. I have been, I am not conformist, but I would rather put my own feelings aside for the sake of someone else. And it has gotten me into dependency issues. It's gotten me into depression. It's definitely spiked my anxiety. And everyone thinks that, well, not everyone, but a lot of people think that these conditions are illusions, that they didn't exist 50 years ago and things like that. And it's just like, no.
Then those people have not experienced the kinds of trauma.
Yeah, it's like,
have.
no, we're just finally at a point, I think, as people where we are willing to call out our trauma. And I know you, and I know you got it, and I know me, and I know
because it was more commonplace 50, 70 years ago, where you just didn't talk. You didn't talk about your feelings. You didn't talk about your problems. It was viewed as a sign of weakness, especially amongst males.
Yep.
And, to this day, there are still things that I'll reserve because of that stigma. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
But I'm much more comfortable letting things out now than I have been before, because I don't want to live with these, debilitating issues, because I've learned what anxiety and depression can do to a person.
Yeah.
Especially me.
There is a crash that comes along with perpetual optimism, with this whole idea of PMA, and there's a crash that comes with it. You can plateau at a really comfortable level of optimism, but eventually, and you will shine that on everyone around you, as is sort of the lot of the optimist. But eventually, everyone who breaks off a tiny piece of that optimism will leave you completely empty. And there is a very serious crash that comes along with that. And I have experienced that tremendously. I have, I am an optimist, and people don't think that about me because I'm also a realist. But I prefer to believe that optimism is the reality I want to exist in. And I don't think that that's crazy. I just, people look at the idea of optimism and positivity these days, and they think that it's naive. They think that it's weak, and they think that it's unrealistic. And I think that that is sad.
It is.
I think that that's extremely sad, that we want to put down optimism, but you want to sop up my positivity, not you, the royal you. And I think that that is something that I think that sort of brings out a lot of trauma in people, is that it's not masking per se, but in a way it sort of goes hand in hand with it. You're not putting on a face for people necessarily. You're not pretending that everything is good. You want to believe that everything is good.
Or could be.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there is a very serious crash that comes along with it when reality, when the bad times hit, it's almost like a manic episode. There have been days where I don't want to do anything, including shower. I don't want to get out of bed. Shut up. I don't want.
We didn't shower yesterday.
There have been days where I just can't stomach finding the energy to do things. And it's not like I don't have the will to live. I'm on a down, and I have to get it out of my system.
It's like what I tell people all the time. I go, once I'm out of the house, I'm good. I'll go anywhere. I say this all the time. I'll go anywhere. I'll do anything. It's getting me out of the house is the challenge. Because I live under the assumption that if people aren't calling me, then they don't want or need me around. Mm-hmm. If they want me there, then they'll call me, never knowing that maybe they're waiting for my call. Or waiting for me to invite them to something. And I love inviting people to do stuff, or at least putting the offer out there like, hey, want to come see this? Want to come do this? Whatever. And I do it all the time now. But it's usually, too far a drive. I'm tired. I got this the next morning. Like,
it sounds like every excuse that people use not to come to our wedding. At least
or any of my shows.
At least my friends.
But at the same time, I mean, I refrain from contacting anybody because I think, well, if they're not contacting me, they must be fine without me. And in a small way, I'm waiting for that call because I'm waiting for somebody. But then I always end up giving out those excuses because just like, and I'm like, listen, please, somebody just drag me out of the house so that way I can be out. And then like when I go out to shows and stuff, like, okay, I'm out and I'm having fun. But then I'll check my watch and then all of a sudden be like, I got to get home because I got to get up for work. And I want to see my wife and the dog and, well, yeah, that's why I married you. No, for everybody listening, like I love being out with my friends. I love playing shows. I love going out and doing things. I'm trying to get her out more often, but
she's got a broken down body, honey. It's very difficult to get me out of that.
I love showing you off, though. I mean, you are my trophy wife.
I know.
She really is. But and I once I'm out, but getting me out, like when I told you before, when I was single, there were so many times where I wanted to get up and go out and do something to not be alone with my thoughts. And I'd pace around the house, like, I'm going to go. And then I just get right back to the couch, phone in my face, TV on in the background. And I'm just like, I'm safe and secure here. Don't have to do anything or go anywhere. And it's weird how sporadic those outings will actually be, because you told me for the longest time, if you really want to go play cards with your friends, why don't you?
Yeah.
And there were so many fears in the back of my mind, like, are they going to care? Am I going to win? Am I going to lose? Am I going to have a good time? Am I just throwing my money away at this point because I know I'm not going to win? Like, you know, and it was all stupid because I was just itching to go every Friday night, just itching and holding back because of all these things that I was afraid of for no reason at all. And then one day it came out of nowhere. I'm just like, I'm going. I'm just going to grab a deck of cards, drive there, and whatever happens, happens. And I've been going ever since.
And that is, in its own way, your therapy.
It certainly is.
Because you are, you as your wife, I can tell you that what I believe is a very serious issue that you have, and I'm not trying to therapize you, okay? But you are you insulate. You go completely inside yourself and everything, and you have these moments where you're just dealing with it. Whatever it is, stress, anxiety, depression, fear, etc., anger, sadness, every emotion that you have, and you just sort of sit on it, and you don't have an outlet. You don't have an outlet to get all of that out. You don't, you talk about it sometimes, but not until your bottle overflows. And
very all or nothing kind of.
Yeah, very all or nothing.
0 to 100.
Exactly. And so going to play cards every week is just this moment of your life where you don't have to think about any of those things. You get there and you are just at peace. It's like meditation in its own way. You are zenned out and focused on one thing that makes you happy. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nostalgia makes me happy.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I thrive on nostalgia because, as I've said in previous episodes, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere a lot of the time. I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time around the same people when I could see them. And so it was just me and my things. And, as I got older, I was able to get up and go places, to the point where I almost never came home. But, I look at therapy in that sense as the same way I used to look at fraternities. Like when I was in college, people would be like, "Oh, why don't you join this fraternity? I'm like, why am I going to pay money to make friends? I can do that, for a lot cheaper.
You have to pay to join a fraternity?
You have to pay dues, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like
country club.
Like to stay a part of it, like you've got to put in dues.
Gotcha.
Like I'm sure I never really looked into it because all I ever heard were the people who were complaining about being in them. And I'm like, well, if you're complaining this much about X, Y, and Z, then why am I going to join,
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
And then everyone that I knew ended up leaving anyway.
Yeah.
And then we started our own fraternity, which ended up being a band.
There you go.
Which was way more fun. And then we could do all the things that fraternities do, just without paying dues.
There you go. I mean, it sounds like you have...
Go join a band. It'll be a lot more fun. Seriously.
I mean, you have your outlet. And that is the point of therapy, is to have an outlet. Is to have a healthy outlet for whatever ails you.
I want to get back to what you said earlier about I don't know if you used the word kindness, but people's perceptions and things like that, and why can't people just be nice or
Did I say that?
I don't remember exactly how you worded it, but what you said earlier made me think of what I did at when I was playing cards 2 weeks ago, because I'd been thinking about it. I've been sitting on it, and I'm like, you know what? Why not? I was very fortunate to have gotten a wrong order of cards one day, like way more than I had paid for. And I'm like, you know what? I really shouldn't make this all about money. Like, am I selling this to, put more money in my pocket? Sure. But I should share in my good fortune. And so with completely unprompted, I just took a whole bunch of packs. And when I got there, I just started handing them out. And it was the one night that we'd seen the most people there that we ever saw before. Like normally there's like maybe 4 to 8 of us. Mm-hmm. There was over 16 this time, which is very unusual. And I started handing them out. And people are looking at me like, for real? for real, bro? And
Yeah, they're suspicious.
and I'm just like,
They're
yeah, there's
suspicious
no
of
catch.
kindness.
Like, and it wasn't like a cheap set or anything.
Right.
I'm just like, I want to see the looks on your face when you pull like whatever it is and people were just like so surprised that somebody would do something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, if I had the means, I'd do it every week because that's what was fun about this when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it was the enjoyment was because, you know, so many things about my hobbies and things I love and enjoy have become monetary in this day and age, and it's so sad because it's not as much about fun.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that my hobbies have turned into businesses because I want to be able to enjoy it like I used to.
Right.
And in doing what I did, it gave me some small sense of enjoyment. Like I don't need to win every week. I don't need to be, it's like I tell you all the time when we play games, I don't need to beat you. I just want to play. I want to get as far away from modern technology and get back to the human interaction because that's what we are. That's who we are. And that gives me a sense of inner peace.
I think we should just take you into the woods one day.
And shoot me?
And no.
Just put me out of my misery?
No.
It's like your problems are never going to be solved. Let's get rid of this one.
Start from scratch.
Yeah.
No,
It's like there's still time for Henry.
I think that you would. I think
one.
that you would benefit from being away from people, and I think getting back to just sort of like your primal self. I can imagine.
Didn't we do that last night?
Stop that.
Oh, come on. It's not, we're married. It's not like you really want to purport the fallacy that we don't do any of that?
Don't talk about your fallacies here, sir. I think that
She made me a mixtape, by the way.
yeah, talk about nostalgia.
Out of nowhere.
I made you a mixtape.
She made me a mixtape and she bought me a boombox, like a mini boombox.
Well, you have to be able to listen to your mixtape.
And it's seafoam green, too.
Well, it was either that or it was going to be rose gold, and I thought that was a bit much. Yeah. It's a Studebaker.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
Take me out to the woods and shoot me.
No, not take you out to the woods and shoot you. What I was going to say was...
I thought you were going to say, like, get back with nature.
Well, it's just basically the same thing. But in a less hippy-dippy kind of way.
I mean, I feel like I'm living my best life now. I really am. Like,
I think that's beautiful.
I may not get to do what I want to do all the time whenever I feel like doing it, but I'm in the best place I could have possibly imagined for myself, you know? Like, couldn't have foreseen us getting together, us making it this far, us doing all the things that we've done. A lot of who I am today is thanks to you.
You're welcome. So what I'm hearing is that you found something that works for you.
So I should be paying you appropriately?
I think you do.
Your fee?
I think my fee has been met.
You hear that, guys? She works cheap.
But yeah, I mean, that's just it, is that we both have extremely different ideas of of what is therapeutic, of therapeutic outlets, but the point is that they work, and that is the point, right?
I think so.
I think that is the point, and I think that that's grand. I think that too many people put down the idea of, well, if you are not willing to if you need therapy and you're not willing to try it, then there's, you're never going to get better. It's like, you can get yourself better.
So many people say
people
you got to stick with it. You've got to do it for this long. It's like all the hair replacement, serums and shit. They say, oh, you got to use it for X amount of weeks or months or whatever before it really starts to work. And it's just like, no, you should really know right off the bat, like, if the person you're talking to is going to be good for you or not.
Yes. But if you're looking for a quick fix, then you don't want to be in therapy.
I mean, I knew from the get-go that none of that was going to be quick and painless. But a lot of the time, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I don't need to be here. Like, there's people who need this way more than I do. Or who need this form of it more than I do. I can find it elsewhere.
Nothing wrong with that.
But, let somebody be here that needs to be here, that wants to be here. That was my take on it.
Well, that's just it, is that, you can stick it out and everything, but if you are not gleaning from it the necessary therapy, then there's obviously no point to it.
I think you're the one who changed my perspective on talk therapy, because it wasn't until I saw what it was doing for you that I started to think of it differently, because I'm like, okay, well, if it's working for her, great. But I mean, I'm not ready to take that plunge
But it
So,
also
just yet again.
it works for me because of the relationship I have with my therapist. Again, not everybody is going to have that, and not everybody's going to have that the first shot. And it's unfortunate that, someone like you has had such poor experiences with therapy, because I think that if you were at a point where you were willing to give it a shot, I think that you could benefit from it.
It was nice because the guy that I did get along with, he did a really good job of distracting me by talking about other things. We would talk about music and other things that interested us. And that would kind of bring up my mood to the point where it's just like, okay, I can start to look at different aspects of my life in a different light, in a different way. I can treat them differently. I can approach them differently. And I'm approaching them now in a better mood, in a calmer mood, less anxiety, less reserved, like rage and things like that, because it's all about the frame of mind. I mean, how you handle any situation depends on your frame of mind. And if you're in a bad frame of mind, you're not going to approach anything positively.
I mean, my therapist essentially just sort of facilitates me at this point. I talk a lot more than she does. She doesn't really, again, she doesn't give me advice. She doesn't tell me what to do. She doesn't, every once in a while, I'm just like, I don't know how to help myself. And she will sort of ask me leading questions to get me to realize that this is where I need to go with my train of thought. This is how I need to direct myself in order to help myself. She's not telling me how to fix my life. She's giving me the opportunity to talk at length and leading me to points where I'm able to identify the root of my issues, the root of my problems, the root of my fears and my anxieties and everything, the root of my stress, and how to then go about myself rectifying it. And that is why I've stuck with her so long, because I don't want somebody telling me what to do. You know that.
I don't think anybody does. But, that being said, I think something, not even just in therapy, but something in just life that doesn't get stressed enough is, especially when you're dealing with other people, is to think about the other person, to think about what they're going through, what this looks like from their angle. Because, you see it in memes, you see it on, in reels and things on the internet, but, it doesn't get practiced as much as it gets preached, because I've actively started looking at different angles way more in recent years than ever before. And I've insisted that other people do the same, because, that guy that you flipped off for cutting you off, you don't know what he's going through or she's going through.
I've said that.
And it's not just that scenario, but a lot of different scenarios. Like, it's not so easy to do in the moment, but we could understand each other a lot better if we started looking at different perspectives and try to understand, well, why is this happening? Why is this person in this mood? Why am I in this mood? What are the events that led to this outcome? What are the events that led to this interaction or this conflict or whatever it is? And what do we do to mitigate it or avoid it happening in the future?
Yeah. And I think that a large part of that is understanding it.
My mother used to say to me all the time, whenever I would be anticipating an argument or have to have a difficult conversation with another person, she would always say to me, well, think about what you're going to say and think about how the conversation is going to go from there. If you say this, what do you think the person's going to respond with? And then try and map it out from there.
I have had full-blown conversations with other people by myself.
Same.
Full-blown conversations.
To the point where it's just like, oh my God.
It's one of those things where it's like, well, now I just had the conversation, so I don't
and
need
then
to
you have the
again.
conversation, and it doesn't go at all how you thought it was going to go.
No, it doesn't. but you're prepared for it.
Like my boss in particular, he's not a bad guy. We've had fights, but at the same time, I think to myself, he probably just wants to get the hell out of here just like I do. It's like, all right, what's the quickest way for us to get to that conclusion? How do I make everybody again, I'm a people pleaser too, but it's just like, all right, what's the most positive outcome to this issue, to this problem, and how do we get there?
Yeah.
So for all my coworkers that listen to this, it's just like, yeah, you heard me say it. He's not a bad guy. Just, cut him some slack and maybe he'll cut you some too. And I'll try and help out along the way.
Hey, look at you facilitating.
Well, that's part of my job now.
That's so nice of you. We all just want happiness. We all want peace and happiness.
Yeah.
That's it. And however that is gained, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it's important to make sure that it's not hurting other people.
I just think too many people aren't willing to give up any of their own to secure somebody else's. And it's just like, well, maybe if you give a little bit, you'll get a little bit more in the long run.
Well, people got to be willing to bend, but it's bend, not break. Again, there's only so much of yourself that you can give other people before there's nothing of you left. And that's not healthy.
I also wasn't, until the conversations that you and I started having, wasn't comfortable completely walking away from anyone. It's just like, no, I have to have the last word. I have to, see this through. And it's just like, you know what? No, I don't. Once I realize that this is just going to keep hurting me to have this person stay a part of my life, it's like, all right, time to walk away.
I feel very pleased with myself that I seem to have had a very positive impact on you.
You were the best influence that I could possibly think of.
I seem to have had a very positive impact on you.
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel like, it was okay for me to quit teaching because I came to you. This was a good talk.
It was a good talk. I can't believe this topic came out of me. I thought this would have been your bag for sure.
Well, I was expecting when you said you wanted to talk about therapy, I was like, all right, gloves are off. He's about to poo-poo my...
No, this isn't politics.
What's going on here?
No. Well, this has been a good That Talking podcast.
It has been. This has been a very good talk. Thank you to everyone listening. We appreciate you. Please find us on social media, DT Andy and JJ Star with 2 R's on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Thank you, Andy, for our theme song, The Guide.
Thank you for the editing and that beautiful smile.
Oh, babe. Get the dog back in here, put her back on my lap now.
Yeah, where's our executive producer?
She got fed up. She's waiting for us to be done so she can get the belly scratches.
From all of us here at That Talking Podcast.
All 3 of us.
I'm Downtown Andy.
And I'm JJ Star.
And we will talk to you later.